This episode of the Best of LKN podcast is made possible by the support from our friends at the Sarver Group. Since 2005, the Sarver Group at Keller Williams Realty has been serving homebuyers and sellers throughout the Lake Norman area. And they've been recognized 14 years in a row as a 5-star professional real estate firm by Charlotte Magazine. As a top real estate team in the Lake Norman area, the Sarver Group invests in your home by including their in-house style and design team consultation. Style and Design by the Sarver Group is a team of professional interior designers that can provide furnishings and decorations to improve the overall appeal of your home for prospective buyers, which will help maximize the return on your investment. Style and Design is just one of the ways the Sarver Group helps you sell sooner with less hassle. When you're ready to list your home, contact our friends at the Sarver Group. Call them at 704-626-7007. That number again is 704-626-7007. Big thanks to the Sarver Group at Keller Williams Realty for their support.
Welcome to the Best of LKN, a podcast featuring the best small businesses and the most influential professionals around Lake Norman, North Carolina. Each week, we spotlight those businesses and individuals that are making a positive impact here in the Lake Norman area. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the show.
Hey, Lake Norman. Thanks for joining us here at the Best of LKN. I'm your host, Jeff Hamm, and this is episode 161 of Lake Norman's #1 small business podcast. Real quick, before we begin, have you subscribed to our weekly email newsletter? It's the best way to stay up to date on all of our digital content, including our weekly podcast episodes and blog articles featuring the best local small businesses, nonprofits, places to go, and things to do in the Lake Norman area. Our weekly email newsletter drops every Friday morning, and not only is it a great way to stay up to date on all the cool stuff going on around Lake Norman, but it's also a great way to support this podcast without spending a single dime. Signing up is easy. Go to the sign-up form on our homepage at thebestoflkn.com, enter your first name and preferred email address, and that's it. I'm really proud of the local content that the team and I produce every week, and the email newsletter is simply the very best way to share everything with our community. Subscribing is free, and I promise I'll never spam your inbox. So go to thebestoflkn.com and sign up. Okay, in this episode, I sit down with Tim Mascara, the co-founder along with his two brothers of Mascara Brothers Coffee Company. Mascara Brothers Coffee is based in Davidson, and they promise to deliver the freshest coffee to their customers through an innovative subscription plan. During our conversation, Tim will explain how the program works and why Mascara Brothers Coffee is so special. Mascara Brothers Coffee Company invites you to delight in their small batch, incredibly fresh, farm-to-cup coffee that's sure to dazzle your taste buds and leave you utterly amazed. I can tell you from personal experience that the coffee is amazing. But what I love most about Mascara Brothers Coffee Company is the inspiration behind the business. That's what really makes this story special, and that's why I think you're going to love getting to know this small business. So with that, let's go ahead and dive in. Thanks for joining us, friends, and enjoy getting to know Mascara Brothers Coffee Company with co-founder Tim Mascara. Tim, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. It's a real pleasure to be on with you.
Tim, before we get into the details about Mascara Brothers Coffee, share for the listeners a little bit of your background, hometown, careers, and also some details about what your brothers are up to and where they're located.
Yeah. So briefly about us, we are a family of 5. I've got 2 older brothers, and we grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio. Moved down here to go into ministry. I'm a pastor at a church down near UNCC, and have been doing that and working at that church for really since 2005. And so that's a little bit about me. My brothers, one still lives in Cincinnati, in fact, in the house that we grew up in. And one has moved out to California to start his own business in Northern California. And we're still really close. That kind of led us to actually doing something together.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, about the inspiration behind doing something together, started launching this enterprise together. You shared with me before, when we first met, a little bit of this story, and it's really neat. Can you share that for the listeners?
Yeah. So my brothers and I, again, we're really close. Obviously, you're not when you're growing up, right? Like brothers fight. But once we've all kind of moved into our own areas, we've just continued to stay connected. We've always wanted to do something together. And then in 2021, our mom was passing away from Lewy body dementia. I think that's what it's called. I can't remember exactly now. But so we were traveling out to California, visiting, and as she was passing, we were going through old photos, and we stumbled upon this photo of three guys standing in front of this old truck from the 1950s that had Mascara Bros Repair Shop written on it. So we asked my dad, "What is this?" And he said, "Oh, those were my great uncles. They went into business together." And that was kind of like the impetus for us. Like we looked at each other and said, let's do this. Like, let's actually do something together. And so we knew at that point, we knew we wanted to do something together, and we knew we wanted to incorporate just family tradition at some level in whatever we do. And we thought, let's start with coffee, because two of us really love good, fresh coffee. And so that's kind of what it started. And in fact, our logo has the silhouette of three people on it. It's not me and my brothers. It's the silhouette of those three brothers who started their own business back in the early 50s.
That photo is on your Instagram account, the business's Instagram account. It's a really neat photo. I think it's also on the website.
Yes, it is there as well. Yeah.
Great photo. Really sort of sparked some, questions like, what's this about? And it made so much sense when you explained, the inspiration behind the business and how it kind of, how you guys, it kind of stoked some excitement for you guys, didn't it? When you discovered that photo?
Yeah. It was like, we can do this.
Yeah.
And even though we're scattered across the country, this was something that we realized our given talents and specialties that we have can be utilized in a way that allows us to be spread out, but still do this well.
Share a little bit about Mascara Brothers Coffee. So you guys came up with this concept, agreed that this is something all three of you could get behind. You live in Davidson. The business is headquartered here in Davidson. Share for the listeners some details about the products that you guys provide.
Yeah. So we officially had launched in early December of 2022 and started with just one roast that we have been doing. It's a Brazil peaberry, single origin, and kind of led that with as our kind of flagship coffee that we roast, and then began branching out into a dark roast because that's what my dad loves. Our dad loves it burnt. And so we're like, okay, well, to honor him, we want to do that. And then the same now, we have a decaf that we offer, and we named it after our mom who only drank decaf. The story is she didn't need any more caffeine in her life raising three boys. So that's what we sell, and we sell it whole bean or ground. We obviously would recommend whole bean if you have a grinder, but you can find it online, mascarabroscoffee.com, mascaracoffee.com. We'll ship it to your door. We'll do local pickup. In fact, Rumor Mill Market, Scott and Janie have been really supportive in us launching, and they sell some bags there, so you can pick up there. And then our aim is subscription. So we want you to be encouraged to set it and forget it, and we'll make sure you get fresh coffee on a monthly basis.
That's a nice shout out too for Scott and Janie. Yeah. They were guests recently on the podcast, and that's actually how I connected with you. So many thanks to them. I really appreciate them helping me connect with you and discover Mascara Brothers Coffee. Yeah. Did you, what was this rabbit hole like as far as like sourcing the coffee and researching the coffee business? Like what was that experience like?
It was a lot. I'm one of those individuals that, I want to know, and I want to know everything about something. And so it just began with, all right, let's start with a sample roaster, start somewhere, order beans from a whole bunch of different places, until we landed with a company that we're really glad to be working with, who knows the farmers and works and pays them well. And then from there it was test to find the roast that we really think makes us distinct and unique and good. But it was, my wife will tell you, there was a lot of smoke outside the house as I was just testing and trying coffee. And she's like, this was gross. No, don't, and then eventually it was like, oh, this is the one.
Where are the beans sourced from?
So we source through an organization called Genuine Origin, who they use what's called the Volcav way, and working with local farmers in different regions. So, for example, again, our signature roast though is a medium roast that we source from some farm in Brazil, and then our dark roast is a farm from Honduras, and our decaf is from Mexico. And so we've not had the chance yet to go visit, but we would love to get to that state where we actually can go visit the farms.
I bet you will. Yeah, I'm sure you will. And that would be really exciting to be able to visit the farms and see where it all begins, right?
Yeah.
I haven't tried the dark roast yet. I'm looking forward to it. I have a bag. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to give that a try. The word sustainability kind of comes to mind when you mention your partners in the growing and where you source the beans. That's really cool. It sounds like you did your due diligence and some homework when you decided, made the decision who to partner with.
Yeah. We've definitely tried. And, again, without necessarily being able to travel somewhere, trusting that, the way in which they're going about their business is also sustainable and ethical, and paying farmers well for the work that they do.
Yeah. Do the brothers, do you and your brothers bring complementary skill sets to the enterprise? I'm guessing there are some differences in personalities and skill sets. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, we joke about it. That I'm probably the doer at some level, and when it was because again, my mom passed in 2021 and we launched at the end of 22, and it got to the place where I was like, guys, let's just go. Let's buy what we need and let's go. And then I was the one that really began tackling and doing. My other brother in Cincinnati is kind of behind our social media website, like all that goes into the process of somebody ordering coffee and getting coffee. And it's what he's done for a living is worked for sales. And so thinks about those things, and he's so good at networking and so good at just picking up ideas and trying new things. We joke about that. His ADD allows him to just go and try things. And then our brother in California, he is a really successful business owner. And so he has helped us think through just the business side of things. What do we need to be doing? What do we need to be tracking and pay attention for? As well as being crazy gracious and being an investor for us, and allowing us to pay for our roasters and beans and everything we needed to just start the company. And knowing that he keeps an eye out on those things allows us to focus on what we do best.
That really takes a big weight off your shoulders to have someone who has experience in business plan development and finance and all of those things that are not necessarily fun parts of business ownership, right? But so critical and so important. Yeah.
It would have been a lot harder, I think. We already trying to bootstrap the way we need to get it going. It would have been a lot harder if any of us tried, I think, to do this on our own.
Sure. Yeah. I say it all the time. It takes a team.
Yep.
And even so-called self-made folks. And I really can lend a lot of credit to a lot of support and teamwork behind their enterprises. I think. What were you going to say?
I agree. I was going to say, I was going to say, we've got no better team because it's my brothers.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful to be able to do something with them.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I bet it is really rewarding too, to be able to do something with your family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That must be.
Yep.
Share a little bit about the process. So the coffee beans are shipped here, mm-hmm. and then you roast them here?
Yes, roast them here. We use 2 small batch roasters because our aim as a coffee roasting company is there's nothing better than fresh roasted coffee. And we want to get coffee to you within 7 days of the roast date, because that's when it's at its freshest. Coffee lasts a while. It will be good, but it won't be great. And so we get the green beans here, and then when an order comes in, or I know subscriptions are coming to renew, I'll begin to roast small batches to let it sit a little bit, and then get it in a bag and get it out the door as fast as possible. So we do it all here right now. My brother in Ohio has also just gotten a small batch roaster. So he's able to then do the same up there that we do here from a local side, being able to then source to local companies and businesses.
Yeah, that really seems like that would help supplement the e-commerce side. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's still e-com, but it's being able to network and distribute your product locally is probably also a great way to kind of,
yes.
Get the company up and running and off the ground.
Yeah.
What's the roasting process like? Is it very complicated?
I don't want to give away the secret.
Well, no, I'm kidding. Don't give away the secret.
It was in the front end, right?
Yeah.
Like, because when you're first testing and learning about roasting and all of that stuff, like you're tracking data nonstop during the roasting process. You're looking at the bean, you're smelling the bean, and thankfully though, in the 21st century, there are many roasting machines that are digital and allow you to track bean temp and time. And so once we zeroed in the profile that we really like, we're able to put that in the machine and it does it for us. So we watch it. We still are testing along the way and running test batches from time to time, but there is a degree of set it and forget it at some level.
Yeah, well, that's good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to scalability,
exactly.
I guess there's more really to roasting coffee than I realized. I know nothing about it. I'm a huge coffee nut. I love coffee, but I don't know anything about roasting the beans. So that's interesting. What about, you mentioned something, and before I forget to bring it up, I want to bring it up now. You mentioned how long coffee lasts.
Yeah.
A question that I had like back in the 90s, and I don't remember what the proper answer was. I know how I store coffee at home. I'm not sure it's the right way. So I'm going to ask you, what is the best way for someone to store their coffee when they're, obviously not for not for super long, but you get the coffee, you open it and grind the beans for a batch. What do you do with that? What's the best way to store that coffee when you put it away?
You're probably going to hear a myriad of answers,
okay,
realistically, but most perishables, light and air, light and oxygen are going to be your 2 factors that degrade quality of something. So anywhere from just using a sealable bag that doesn't let light in, like we use bags that have a degassing valve built in, so it can let out any gas or air that's built in. You can squeeze it to tighten it a little bit, but it's not going to bring any air back in. And again, it's not a clear bag, so that it doesn't let any light in. But there's other things that you can use, right? Like vacuum sealed tins and things like that. But as long as you're kind of thinking about light and air, your beans will last a good while. You could do what my dad does, and he freezes his beans. I don't recommend that, but I've read that it does help them last longer.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. Yeah. Speaking of your packaging, you mentioned the packaging for your coffee is the branding is really good. So I love the branding for the business, and the packaging is really clean and seems like very high quality. It seems like you put some thought into that too.
Thank you. Yeah, we did. We really wanted the bags to pop, right, to catch your attention, and not be too busy, because we all know in this day and age, emails are hard to read. There's so much information coming out, but at least capture our story, and just kind of what you're getting in the package. And then the bag, we really wanted to choose a bag that allowed for resealability, and kept light out and stuff like that.
Well, over the last few years, I've focused a lot on my own branding for my various projects, and it's something that I got wrong for a long time, and I know how difficult it is, to really nail it.
Yeah.
But yeah, cleaner, less busy is always better.
Yeah.
Right.
That's encouraging. We haven't necessarily got it wrong.
Yeah. Not in my mind. Yeah. You guys did an excellent job.
If I can share too,
Sure.
and we chose intentionally certain colors. And so
I was going to ask you about that too.
Our medium roast is a red bag, and our decaf is a green bag, which green is a common color for decaf related things. And for our dark, we decided to go with a black label, but a white bag. And Mascara is a very unique name. Its heritage is Italian, and we are pretty proud that we're an Italian family. And so those three colors are actually the colors of the Italian flag. And so it's a subtle way of kind of tribute to our family.
Yep, I love it. What about the e-commerce side of the business? Now that you're up and running, has it been pretty smooth, or did you have some challenges along the way to get that figured out?
Yeah, I would say it's getting smoother.
Yeah.
But the challenges we're trying to figure out, scalability really was the challenge. Like if we launched and the demand was higher than we were prepared to meet, how would we do that? And then just figuring out who to partner with as far as managing the subscriptions and payments and even shipping. We're kind of a trial and error on the front end. But we feel good where we are now of letting people change subscriptions. If this month they want dark and next month they want medium, they can log in and make those edits there. If they want to jump from one bag to how many bags you want in a month, they can do that. And so we're happy with who we've partnered with for that. Subly.com is actually who we go through.
And it's a subscription-based model, basically.
Yes.
is another kind of differentiator.
Yeah.
Between your company and others in the marketplace. And that subscription is, you're able to kind of adjust that. A customer can kind of adjust their subscription based on, if they underestimated how much coffee they use in a month or overestimated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. They can shift it however they need it. And then as we introduce other origins, other roast levels, any of that kind of stuff that can be, they can switch to and from and bounce around and stuff like that. And it lets us, the benefit of the subscription model, at least for us, is it allows us to pay attention to when we need to roast, because again, I think what makes us unique is we want to get coffee to you within 7 days. And so if we know an order's coming, we'll get it ready to get out the door, so that you get it at its peak.
And that's a really good point to underscore and worth repeating. And I actually had a conversation with another business owner this morning, and I happened to mention, we were talking about your business and the coffee, and the fact that your subscribers receive their coffee within 7 days of that coffee being roasted. And his eyes lit up when I said that. He was like, "That's cool." That's really cool. So
I'm looking forward to connecting with him.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that's gonna. I'm glad that I look forward to following up.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. One other piece of advice I'd love for you to share is Mascara Brothers coffee this is really high quality coffee. It's really, you took a lot of care in curating the beans, take a lot of care in roasting the beans and getting it to the customer quickly when it's at its freshest. How can the customers really maximize the quality of that cup when they brew their coffee at home?
Yeah. We've talked a good bit about this, and our heart is, our aim is, whether you drink our coffee or not, we want to help you make a better cup of coffee, right? Now we think our coffee is worth drinking, but coffee is 98% water. So one of the first steps we recommend is filtered water. That alone will be a huge step in improving any cup of coffee, but obviously ours. Another step that we often recommend is cleaning your equipment. There's great brands out there. Urinex is one brand that offers products to clean your machine, clean your grinders. Just doing that on a monthly basis will help break down some of those oils, because coffee is oily as well. And I know quite a few people who have never cleaned their machines, and it was like, hey, just clean it and try filtered water, and it transformed their cup. And then I think the other aspect is, if, there's kind of tiers, cleaning is probably the cheapest, then filtered water. And then the next thing I would recommend is freshly grind your coffee. If you can afford a burr grinder, buy one, and grind day of or the night before. Because as you break the bean, those kind of, aromas, I can't remember the technical term for it, begin dissipating at that point. And so if you're buying a bag of ground coffee, it's already been broken up and it's already beginning to lose some of the aromatic nature of it. But if you're buying whole bean and grinding right before, you will taste a difference.
That's really good to know. I've always considered myself kind of a coffee nerd, but I'm learning so much since meeting you, and now I'm looking at my whole coffee making process every morning differently. Yeah. So you've converted me, and I have no doubt that others will follow for sure. I appreciate you sharing that advice.
Yeah, of course.
That's really cool.
And even like we know people that use K cups and things like that. Just cleaning it and filtered waters will improve in that degree. Like, you don't have to go to the crazy machines and to only doing pour overs. Now that gives you more control, but drip machines can work great if you take a few steps.
Another part of these conversations that I love, one of my favorite parts of these conversations is when we can take a second to kind of recognize a few other local businesses in the area.
Yeah.
And these could be businesses that that have been helpful, or even partners with Mascara Brothers Coffee, or just local businesses that you love and your friends love and your neighbors enjoy as well. The Rumor Mill Market obviously is top of mind. Scott and Janie gave Mascara Brothers a shout out and introduced me to you, which I greatly appreciate. That's one obvious shout out right there that I would love to include. What are some other local businesses that you would like to give shout outs for?
Scott and Janie, again, I'll just mention, we've known them when they opened the Rumor Mill Market. We live practically down the street from it, and we'd walk by regularly, and so I've gotten to know them over the years, and so it's just been a friendship that then has had this opportunity to kind of do something together, and he's been an unbelievable champion for us in getting us up and supporting us and talking about us with whoever he comes across, and so they hold a special place, I think, in my heart as an individual, and then obviously us as a company. I think one of the other longtime friends and small businesses is Karen Toney. She's the manager of the Ben & Jerry's in Davidson downtown. And she's been a neighbor for many years. But she was kind of our launch point back in December of 2022. We had just launched online. We're just taking subscriptions. And she calls me up and she says, Tim, do you want a table at Christmas in Davidson in front of Ben & Jerry's? And where she sells also her woodwork that she does. And we had nothing, right? We had no cups. We had no signage. We had no, and we were scrambling, but we said yes. And so she took a chance on us. And it let us be at Christmas in Davidson, giving out samples and beginning to get our name out there. And so I'm just thankful for her willing to do that. And, obviously plug in Ben & Jerry's. I think this year's their 30th year, on Main Street.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. And Christmas in Davidson, for, anyone who doesn't know, is a big deal.
Yeah.
Like that's an amazing opportunity.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I love that shout out.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I would also probably just talk about the help that some other friends have given us. Run the Hunter House in Huntersville. It's a restaurant in an old house, and they were really helpful in just thinking through website and social media and connecting with them, Ellen and Frank, so I would definitely shout out their restaurant as a place to go.
I need to go there. I've heard a lot about the Hunter House.
Yeah, it's great food.
Somehow I haven't been there yet, and I will be getting there very soon. Yeah, I've heard amazing things about the Hunter House, so I love that shout out too.
Yeah.
What about any near-term plans or future plans? Just continue to spread the word, spread the message, and one subscriber at a time, right? That's
what it is. It's one getting somebody to taste our coffee once, and then just asking them to share it. So we do obviously have some. We've been talking about outside of just one subscriber at a time. What does it look like to expand our market a little bit further and actually get a roaster out in California now, and to connect with the network that my brother has out there from a local side. But those are kind of little steps along the way.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah. I mean, we have 100 or if not 1,000 ideas,
yes.
For what we want to accomplish, right?
Yeah.
It's just kind of staying focused on what's next,
yep.
Or what's right in front of us.
Yeah.
What are your brothers' names?
Mike he's the one in Cincinnati, and Matt is the one in California.
Tim, Mike, and Matt.
Yep.
Awesome. Tim, it's been great to connect with you.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for you and your brothers and for this business. It's an amazing.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah.
Great. You guys have done an amazing job with it. Super concept. And I wish you all the success. How can listeners learn more about Mascara Brothers Coffee and connect?
Well, thank you again for this opportunity. I think, you've got, your pick of the litter in having small businesses on your podcast and referenced in your email and things. And so I'm really grateful that you'd be willing to take time with us. You can follow us on Instagram or Facebook, Mascara Bros Coffee. And then our website again, mascarabroscoffee.com is how you can learn more about and subscribe, or order just single bags at that point. Or you can swing by Rumor Mill Market and pick up a fresh bag from him as well.
Absolutely. I'll have those links in the show notes, of course, and Rumor Mill's information as well. And thank you for those kind words. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it really means a lot. Tim Mascara is the co-owner of Mascara Brothers Coffee, along with his brothers, Mike and Matt. Mm-hmm. Tim, thanks again for joining the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jeff.
Big thanks to Tim Mascara for joining the podcast and sharing the story behind Mascara Brothers Coffee Company. Friends, you can learn more about Mascara Brothers Coffee at mascarabroscoffee.com. I'll have that link in the show notes for this episode. As always, you can find the complete show notes for all of our episodes at the home of Lake Norman's #1 small business podcast, www.thebestoflkn.com. While you're there, be sure to sign up for our free email newsletter. Each week, we're sharing articles about local restaurants, bars, boutiques, real estate, and guides to the towns surrounding the lake. The email newsletter is totally free, and I promise I won't spam your inbox. The Best of LKN platform reaches over 100,000 users across 5 channels every month, including this podcast, our email newsletter, our website, YouTube, and social media. If you're a small business owner in the Lake Norman area and you're looking for smart, measurable, and affordable advertising opportunities, I would love to connect with you. Simply drop me a note using the contact form at thebestoflkn.com. We are currently partnered with over 20 local businesses in advertising and marketing campaigns, and we have room for your business too. Reach out to me today and find out how our style of digital marketing could be a game changer for your business. Okay, friends, that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks so much for joining us and getting to know the best small businesses and nonprofit organizations in the Lake Norman area. I'll be back next week with another episode. So until then, cheers, Lake Norman. Bye for now.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Best of LKN. For more information about this podcast, show notes, video episodes, and links to our featured businesses, please visit www.thebestoflkn.com. We publish episodes weekly, so be sure to subscribe and stay up to date. Until next time, cheers, Lake Norman.